Welcome back. A new study finds crime rates are dropping across the United States, with some areas reaching their lowest levels of recorded crime in decades last year. The research from the Council on Criminal Justice analyzed data from 40 large cities across the U.S. for 13 different types of crimes committed in 2025. The report found homicides dropped 21% from 2024, gun assaults down 22%, aggravated assaults down 9%. Drug crimes were the only category that increased. They were up 7% as compared to 2024. However, drug crimes still remain well below pre-pandemic levels. Here with me with more on this, Alex Piquero. He's a professor of criminology at the University of Miami and the former director, this is important, of the Bureau of Justice Statistics. Alex, it's great to have you with us. As you well know, the Trump administration has said it's because of immigration enforcement crackdowns and the deployment of National Guard in select American cities. Any evidence to back up that that's what has driven crime rates down?
Hi, Major. It's a pleasure to be with you here this evening. Let's be very clear. The crime declines that we saw in 24 and 25 predated the implementation of various policies of this administration. And to add one more piece of the evidence to this is that in cities where there were no National Guards, crime also went down. So the story is that crime rates were already going down before these policies were put into place.
And do we have another explanation for this very positive, I think everyone would agree, salutary trend line?
It's a great story, Major. And we're seeing this for the majority of crime types in the majority of cities. And I think what's happening here is you never want to isolate one thing. But the reason why is that all of the things that we know work from an evidence-based or evidence-informed point of view are happening concurrently in major cities. That includes policing efforts that are focused on hotspots of policing, focused on getting the violent people and the violent places under control. But also that works in combination with prevention and intervention programs that deal with investing in people and in places. And that's happening now. They're resourced up, they're scaled up at a lot of big cities in the US. But, we want to celebrate these crime drops, but we also have to make sure we don't take our foot off the pedal. We have to continue doing the hard work day in and day out.
Alex, I'm going to do something dangerous on live broadcasting. I'm going to use a lot of P words in a row: pandemic, permissiveness, and a perception of both.
Agree and agree. I mean, we all were around in March of 2020 when everything got shut down, and then we had to live through education being stopped. We had to live through increases in alcohol and drug use. We had to live through the fact that we couldn't do the things we were used to doing on a regular basis: going to the gym, going to the mall, being with friends. All of those after-school programs stopped. People lost their jobs. There's no book on the shelf, Major, that says here's what we're going to do during a pandemic, whether for teachers like us or firefighters on the street, and those kinds of things. So that took a couple years to get our hands around it. But also all of those prevention and intervention programs, they were on hold. So the water wasn't even dripping coming out of the faucet. But here we are now, 4 or 5 years later, and the water's coming out completely out of the faucet.
It is often said that to beat crime, you need lots of cops. Has there been a nationwide surge in police employment?
It's a great point, Major, and a lot of people believe that that's the case. And it's true that every department needs a certain number or level of staffing, but it's less the number of police, Major. It's more about what they do on the street and how they do the work they do. It's true. During the pandemic, we saw a lot of officers get sick. I mean, they couldn't work from home when a lot of us were working from home. So officers were on this office street. Some of them were dying. And now we started to staff those levels back up. In some cities, police chiefs will tell you, I need more people. They're always going to want more people and less computers. But I think what we're seeing now is smart use of police in the kinds of places for the kinds of reasons we want.
Alex, very quickly, explain to me the quality of the data and how it is collected.
That's a really good question. In the United States, we have 18,000 some odd law enforcement agencies, Major, and crime data to this day is still not required to be submitted to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, who produces those data in the fall of the calendar year for the previous year. That said, we have a lot of really good live crime trackers now that scrape the internet, because a lot of police departments are now putting the data up on their websites. So the story you're seeing, the Council of Criminal Justice report that I was a part of, that team, what you're seeing now in various different avenues, no matter where the data are being produced, they're all showing a very consistent story. So if I was a member of the public, when I talk to my parents or my teachers, I tell them that the data are reliable, they're timely, and they're credible, and the story is real.
Alex Piquero, University of Miami, former director of the Bureau of Justice Statistics. What a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.